Today was unusually cold for this time of year. I sat at the desk in front of my small bedroom window, staring down at the trees below. The feeling that I was being watched began to creep up my spine like a deadly black widow. What's wrong with me? I shook the feeling and began to write in my journal. I don't know anything anymore, and I don't know what to believe anymore. Things were perfect, and I was finally happy and living life to its fullest. I had no idea that my passion and obsession with collecting old, rare dolls would someday lead me to something I would regret having. My eyes drifted towards the racks again, and I saw it. Its eyes fixated on me. It all started on my 28th birthday. I was sitting on the couch in the living room, overjoyed, looking at my birthday cake my boyfriend Mark bought for me. We celebrated my birthday together, just the two of us, before Mark finally pulled out a box, nicely wrapped along with a cute bow. He'd been telling me about it since last week. He wouldn't tell me what it was, but would brag about it, saying I would love it, and honestly, I have been dying to know what it was. I wasted no time taking the box from his hands and ripped open the wrapping sheet before opening the box. As soon as I opened it, I was dumbfounded. Laid before my eyes was an old doll. I carefully pulled it out of the box and looked at it closely. At once, I knew it was a Victorian Era Mourning Doll. I looked at Mark with the same dumb expression on my face to see him smiling at me, and I threw myself at him, giving him the tightest hug. Thank you, I love it. Oh my God, I can't believe you managed to get your hand on this doll. Where did you find it? I said. A tradesman never reveals a secret, he replied with a smug smile, making me playfully nudge him. By the way, I don't know what kind of doll this one is. I bought it because it looked super old, not to mention creepy. I was hoping that you might be able to tell me about it, said Mark. I laughed in response before I started explaining it to him. This is a Victorian doll, and unlike the other dolls, this particular doll is one of the mourning dolls. These dolls were made to mourn the death of their young children, and the hair of the doll was actual hair of the deceased child, I told him, looking at the brown, long hair of the doll. Not long after, we prepared to go to bed, but not before placing the doll nicely on the rack with the others. I woke up quite late the next day, since it was a weekend and none of us had to go to work. But even with all the hours of sleep, I felt tired. We sat across the dining table having breakfast. You feeling okay, babe? Mark asked. Yeah, I'm fine. Why? It's nothing. You just kept whimpering and kept tossing and turning all night. I found what he said strange, because I didn't do that often. I was told that I slept like I was dead. The only indication was my soft breathing, so I didn't take much note into it. We spent the day as usual, with me exploring and looking at the doll. It was still in quite good shape considering how old it was, being broken from the face, showing the blue eyeball, a few missing fingers, and covered with minor dents. The doll was better than I imagined it to be. A few days passed by, and I still wake up tired, no matter how long I slept, and so did Mark. According to him, I kept whimpering every night while sweating, and when Mark tried to wake me up, I would stop, only to continue it again after a while. Because of me, Mark wouldn't get any sleep either. Mark would get up earlier than me and go to work, and come back late like always, and I would stay at home working on my novel. Even when I was home alone all day, I stopped feeling alone. It felt as if there was someone else with me in the house. I was working on my novel when I heard creaking echoing through the quiet house. I brushed it off at first, but then I heard a loud bang, making me jump and turn around in shock. I found the door of my workspace shut. I never shut it when I was home alone. My throat felt dry as I slowly got up and made my way towards the door, my mind racing, thinking someone had broken into our house. I opened the door and walked out, looking around the house, but not before grabbing a knife from the kitchen. As I walked to my bedroom, I stopped dead in my tracks. There, on the ground, was the Mourning Doll, standing up straight, staring at me. A chill ran down my spine. I quickly walked over and grabbed the doll. "Mark, it's not funny, you know. If you're home early, then just do something else. I'm busy." I called out, but received no response. I called him and he declined the call. I received a text, quote, "I can't talk right now, babe. I'm in a meeting." I checked all around the house after putting the doll back on the shelf, but as I went to the kitchen to put the knife back, I saw the doll again, but this time it was in the kitchen, standing on the ground facing me, along with a knife hovering above it. I could see a tall, dark shadow behind the doll getting darker and darker by the second, and in the hand was the knife. Snapping out, I dropped my knife and sprinted towards the main door as fast as I could, quickly unlocking the door and opening it. But as soon as I stepped out, I felt a sharp pain going through my chest. Shaking, I looked down to see blood gathering. Something pulled me by the hair back into the house. I heard the door closing as I flew across the room, slamming against the wall, gagging for breath. I watched helplessly as the creature slowly walked towards me, flexing its black claws, before it jumped on me and ripped into my body. All I could feel was fear, pain, and my warm blood pooling under me as everything went black. 2 weeks later, I stared at the front door. I haven't been able to stay in this house since my girlfriend died. The movers came out of the front, carrying a box of her things. As I passed them, I felt ill. Maybe it's just being in this house again. I walked upstairs and sat at the desk in front of the small bedroom window. As I finished reading her final journal entry, it all made sense. My eyes drifted towards the racks where she kept her dolls, and I saw it. The Mourning Doll was missing. I jumped to my feet, pressing myself against the window, but I was too late. The moving truck had driven away. The doll was gone.